The main thing that I want to get into is a little bit of a history on King James, who he was, that he was in fact a black man, so on and so forth. Now, before I get directly into that history, one thing that I want you to know is that King James's complexion is really irrelevant.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And what I mean by it's irrelevant, it has absolutely nothing to do with the translation itself. You know what I'm saying? It wouldn't matter if he was purple, if he was Asian. What matters is this text, you understand, translated properly or not? And we know that the King James Version was, first of all, the King James is the most accurate word-for-word translation from the Hebrew and Greek. You understand? There's something called a Bible continuum where you'll be able to go and you'll look up every single Bible and it will explain which one is diluted or which one has the purest translation. Now, of course, this is also why we also study Hebrew, you understand, and look into the Greek as well, so that this way we'd be able to understand the scriptures better than what they'd be. You lose something when you get to English. You understand? So as far as King James race, it has nothing to do, you understand, with the actual text itself. You understand? But the truth of the matter is that he is a black man. He was a brother. He was from the tribe of Judah. You understand? He was an Israelite. And so was Constantine. You understand? So was many men throughout history. Now, how do we know? Anybody have a copy of Babylon and Timbuktu in here? That's the only book that I left. But okay. 70 AD. You understand? They collapsed. You have it? No, it's not in there. Okay. You understand? 70 AD is when Jerusalem was collapsed. You understand? Meaning that Rome went and waged war on Jerusalem. As a result, once again, remember, America is the continuation of the Roman Empire. What they did was they minted a coin. For the people at home, y'all should be able to see this. This is known as the Judea Capta. You understand? Which means Judea or Jerusalem captured. They commemorated this event of when they destroyed Jerusalem. Those who were lucky enough, you understand, or blessed enough, whatever you want to call it, you understand, we don't believe in luck, you understand, but those who listened to Yahushua and foresaw of the warning, they left before the city was laid siege. Those who weren't lucky enough were taken into Roman slave markets. When we got into these Roman slave markets, we were the gladiators. You understand? They found out about, you know, they would go through our record. They would know that we're the Jews. And they would be seeing that we would get thrown in lion pits. And they want to see if we get eaten or not. They saw that Samson was able to kill a lion with his bare hands. You understand? So we were in there battling. We were enslaved. We joined their military because when Rome conquered a nation, they would require a certain amount of, they would levy. So you understand? Basically meaning they would issue a levy that certain people would have to join into the military. You understand? And give a certain amount of service for any nation that they conquered. So Rome's actual military at that time was multicultural, depending on the nation that they were at, who would be the majority. You understand? So now, I don't know if y'all want to see this as well. Bajo, come up, grab this. You can pass this around. That's the Judea Capta coin. So now, as time went on, we rose up through the ranks. You can just leave the bag right here, unless you have something in. So we started to rise through the ranks. As we started to rise through the ranks, you understand, just like today, there's black generals in America. America is a white supremacist land, but even going all the way back to the Battle of Bunker Hill, you understand, there was brothers there. There was two brothers riding with Paul Revere, screaming that the British were coming, the British are coming. Why am I saying that? Because we like to make history too black and too white. You understand, when Colin Powell was in the presidential cabinet in the Bush administration, Condoleezza Rice was as well. So to think that a black or Hispanic can't rise and, you understand, into politics inside these empires would be foolish. So around 193 AD, what took place was there was an overthrow inside of the Roman government. And there was two generals, you understand, one by the name of Servius Septimus. This is who the month of September is named after. And the other Priscinius Niger. Now, if y'all know anything, what was the apostles called? Good?
Niger.
Niger. Niger. Well, that's what this brother's name is. You understand? This brother's name is Persinius Niger. Y'all can take a look right here. Niger. What does that word mean? For sure.
It's Latin for black.
It's Latin for black. You understand? And if you actually take a look at him, you could clearly see he's got Negro features. You understand? Now, why is this important? This was the start of the Dark Ages. This is when Servius Septimus and Persinius Niger took over Rome. And now he went and he was called the rival emperor in the East. Why was he the rival emperor in the East? Because Rome was split into an East and a Western part. You have your hand up? On topic.
Yes, Johnson. Can I get like a timeline? Like, what would you say this happened around what?
This is no, nowhere near that. I said 193.
Okay.
This is 193 AD. Servius Septimus and Persinius Niger were both ruling at the same time. Rome was fractured. The Rome that we think of today is one solid empire. You understand? Rome was fractured. Just like, for example, America was fractured at one time. That's why there was a civil war. Well, Rome and Europe at this time was a non-stop barrage of civil war and a quest for power, especially in the West. Especially in Rome, in Florence and Naples and all those areas around there in the Baltic Sea and all that. You understand? So now, this is also why I hate history. Because now we know his name is Persinius Niger, or Niger, whichever word you prefer. We know Niger means black. Listen to what the hell they have to say about him. You understand? It says, his face was defined and always ruddy. Ruddy not meaning red, of course. You understand? Ruddy meaning fair. You understand? Ruddy does not mean red, especially in this context and in this time frame. Ruddy only became red and fair only became white way after, you understand, the Renaissance period, which was a whitewashing era. So what happened is that it says his face was always ruddy. His neck was so black that according to what many say, he got the name Niger from that. So his neck was so black that that's what they say he got the name Niger from. I
was saying with that next sentence it defines. So how can his face be different than what his neck is?
Right. How can it? But now check this out. This is where you understand. This is another thing. There's no bones in the Bible. There's bones inside historical text. You understand? Right. Outside of the Bible. Why? I'm going to give you one. It says the rest of his body being white and rather fat. How could your neck be so black, but the rest of your body is going to be white? You understand? What happens to a white man in the South? His neck.
It turns red.
It turns red, which is why we call them rednecks. A black man's neck is not going to turn red. So these are some of the lies that they put inside of these books in order to throw people off. So what you start to see is that this was the start of the Dark Ages. You understand? So what were we doing there in the first place? We were there because we got taken into captivity under the Romans after 70 AD, those that couldn't flee into Africa. Then after we built up a reputation of being able to fight and we got inside their military, we overthrew it. By the way, this book is The Roman Emperors. You understand? Y'all can take a look at that if y'all want to get it at home. By Michael Grant. Now, I will forewarn every single one of you. This book, I got this book and it's a first edition for $5 after shipping. You understand? Y'all going to want to jump on this ASAP. Because as soon as we start bringing out these books, the prices skyrocket. You understand? Dead?
The author's name again?
The author's name is Michael Grant. All right. So now, y'all think I'm lying? Go price this book. Tell me how much this book is going to be worth. This book is worth $3,000 to $7,000. You understand? You know how much it was when I came in the truth? $90. Why is it worth so much? Well, let's find out. It's worth so much because this is a book of Russian icons. You understand? Now, what are Russian icons? I'm going to read it directly from the book in order to give you a better context. So now, it says icons existed not only as panel paintings, but also as frescoes and wall mosaics, meaning these were beautiful works of art that were on the walls. They could have been in multiple different fashions, you understand? And it says some of which have emerged from layers of whitewash. Why were these layers of whitewash? Because of the Renaissance era. What we're about to get into is the Dark Ages. the Renaissance started, you understand, really the whitewashing era that I'm trying to talk about started in the late 15th century. You understand? Meaning after 1453. Why? Because that was when Constantinople was sacked. Why is Constantinople so important? Okay, good.
Because we were in rulership in Constantinople.
We were in rulership in Constantinople. Why? Because those same, you understand, black Roman generals who became emperors of Rome, they continued to conquer and set up their people to the point where Constantine was a black man. He was a black emperor who ruled around the circle. I'm gonna give you the circle year around 300 AD. You understand? Good.
I don't know if you said this earlier when I was gone, but Constantinople was the most proper side of the Roman Empire.
Absolutely. You understand? And I'm going to get into all of that in a moment. The first thing that I want to do is, hold on one second. Go ahead.
One thing I've always been curious about, I haven't been able to connect. Now I know what's called the actual Black Saint Nick is based in Russia. I know we have a lot of icons there because we at some point ruled Russia and we're there. But do you know specifically when that was or what time period that is?
It was during the Byzantine expansion period when we started going into Russia. What you want to do is you want to look up certain cities like Novgorod and so on and so forth. And this is why when you go throughout Russia and you look at the roofs of all their architecture, what does it look like? It looks like Middle Eastern architecture. Why? Because we were the Jews from the Middle East who expanded, you understand, into all these different areas and territory, and we would use the same building skills and techniques in order to build these areas up.
I'm sorry, Joe. I believe I had seen somewhere that Constantine had made frequent stops like in homes in Rome and Moscow. This is the same Constantine.
You understand? It absolutely was, because we would go and expand into these territories. Because if you look, okay, Constantine, okay, so now we go from 193 AD. There's a whole bunch of different civil wars. We're taking over, we're expanding. Constantine comes in around 300 AD. Now, just so y'all know, this is a Russian icon of Constantine and his mother Helena. Those look like white people? I don't think so. You understand? You want to pass this around? Good. Bring it back, though. I got some things I got to go through in there.
Yeah, that definitely is.
So now, getting back into this. So, the Roman Catholic Church started with Constantine. Constantine adopted different pagan beliefs, you understand, did not rewrite the scriptures, but instead, for example, you understand, they would go and they would take their feast of Saturnalia, they would change it from the worship of Saturn to just worshiping Christ. You understand? Now, is Christmas in the Bible? No, it became a tradition of man that they would push forward. You understand? So now, Constantine was a black man. He moved the capital of Rome over to the Eastern Empire. You understand? Meaning Byzantine, which today would be modern-day Turkey and Istanbul. This was the capital and location of the Byzantine Empire. You understand? So now, there's something else. I wish I would have been able to pull it up today. I might be able to get it on my phone and then put it on camera. So Constantine starts ruling, time goes on, his descendants keep ruling, every single one of them that sit on the throne. 1453 AD, the Ottoman Turks. These were devils who were conquered and converted into Islam. They went and they sacked Constantinople. When they sacked Constantinople, this was the beginning of the end of the Dark Ages. Did you hear?
My question was about really Islam and Ishmael really specifically. What was the Byzantines dealings with Islam or the rise?
We were at war with them constantly. It was an entire that's what the entire what the hell is it called? Crusades. That's what all the Crusades were about. The Crusades started with Byzantium wanting to take back all the land that they lost through the Islamic conquest. And that's all that it was. It was a fight back and forth, who was going to take Jerusalem, who lost Jerusalem, who would take these lands, who would rule these lands. You understand? All in the meantime, while you had two different Christendoms fighting, you understand, pretending they were aiding each other, all trying to get their hands on the same land. Because there was a Western church and there was an Eastern church. We ruled the West, we ruled the East, the West was fractured. You understand? And eventually the West was completely taken over by Esau. You understand? And then eventually they ended up taking over the Byzantine, and that started in 1453. You understand? So now, once again, I don't want to get too into Islam or nothing. That I'm going to break a lot of this down. You understand? So if you don't have a question specifically on what I'm speaking, hold it, because I don't want to get thrown off, because I don't know if you see I have 20 books up here. All right? So now, with that being stated, so Constantine, a black man, as I showed you, a Russian icon with him and his mother depicted as a black man and black woman, you understand? They moved it to Constantinople. We were ruling in Constantinople. We fought a continuous amount of wars, you understand? Also, we fought wars with the Western side strictly over these icons. And that's why these icons were still in Russia. Because we would go and we would hide them in monasteries because they wanted us to destroy these icons. They couldn't picture worshiping a black Christ. Now, why do I say that Christ is black, the disciples are black, so on and so forth? Because not only is it in the scriptures, but before the Renaissance, which was a whitewashing era, where they whitewashed all these images. Y'all see that? That's a black man right there with an afro. You look at that, you look to the left and right of Christ, you'll see black men. Okay?
And to add more fuel to that fact, if Christ was a white man, and that is the image of Christ, why is his robe white and not him?
Well, okay. His robe would be white because that's a picture of the transfiguration, and white could also be pure. You understand? Like when they say something is pure as snow. So your clothing doesn't have anything to do with it. A white man could wear a white robe, a black man could wear a white robe. Now, not only that, but they also have other disciples, such as Peter, being portrayed as a black man with wool-like hair. So these were all the images that were around during these time periods. What happened to them? They were whitewashed. You understand? Along with, and I'm going to show you them actually caught in the act whitewashing. You look over here, as you stated before, this right here is St. Nicholas. You understand? St. Nicholas is where you get Santa Claus from. Why? St. Nicholas worked inside a monastery, you understand, and orphanages all throughout Russia. And what he would do is he had a system where if the kids behaved, he brought them gifts. So that's how they kept the kids in order. Eventually, they adopted him into the church. He became Santa Claus, and you understand the rest is history. So now what happens is, they turn around, and remember, it said that these Russian icons emerged from whitewash. This is the Orthodox Church whitewashing images. You see this picture right here? There is a black Christ in the background, but they're turning that woman white. And these are them repainting and remodeling every single one of these images.
When I was in prison, an Israelite told me that an Israelite created the Russian language. And if that's true, how can I find this information?
That I'd have to get back to you on. You know what I'm saying? As far as the linguistics of Russia, I couldn't tell you, but I can tell you we did rule certain areas of Russia. But as far as the history of the linguistics of that language, that's not something I can tell you. Understand?